Happy Hat Day! If you saw our Spirit Week list that I sent out last Friday, then you saw that we are doing a little something each day to celebrate Spirit Week. Even if I don't get a chance to see you, you can take pictures of yourself as you're doing your studies today on Monday, May 11th. So today is Hat Day, and I have my hat on. So if you want to go get your hat and put it on and do this lesson with me with your hat, you can do that now. So today's lesson is our last and final lesson in our math book, Chapter 12. So if you want to get your hat and your Chapter 12 math book, your pencil erasers and crayons, and be ready, and we will start with our friend right now.
Hi there! Today is the Balloon Festival here at the petting zoo. We have seen some beautiful hot air balloons floating in the sky this morning. Look, there are some now. There are red and yellow balloons. They are so pretty. Click the red balloon to find out more. Wow! I know that someone will want to keep track of the number of hot air balloons that will be in the sky this morning. Hey, I wonder if there's a good way to keep track of the balloons and their colors. Maybe a graph will help. Let's figure out how to do that.
Aaron's graph shows red and yellow counters. How can Aaron read the graph to know whether there are more red counters or more yellow counters? The title of this graph is Red and Yellow Counters. There are two rows on the graph. Rows go across. There's one row for red counters and one row for yellow counters. What are the categories of this graph? Red counters and yellow counters. How many counters are there in the category for red counters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 red counters. How many counters are there in the category for yellow counters? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 yellow counters. Which category has more counters? Red. How do you know? The graph shows 5 red counters and 4 yellow counters. 5 counters are more than 4 counters. Click the category to show which has more.
So thumbs up the red, thumbs down yellow.
Aaron's graph shows red and yellow counters. How can Aaron read the graph to know whether there are more red counters or more yellow counters? What does Aaron's graph show her? There are more red counters than yellow counters. Ryan made a graph of his counters. How many counters are in each category? This graph shows counter colors. What are the categories? Red counters and yellow counters. How many red counters?
Okay, so you can hold up the answer on your fingers. It's either 4 or 5. How many are red?
That's right. There are 4 red counters. How many yellow counters?
And again, you can count the yellow and hold up your answer.
That's right. There are 6 yellow counters. Which category has more counters? Click to circle.
So red or yellow, which has more?
That's right. There are more yellow counters than red counters. Now let's practice with the personal math trainer.
All right, so boys and girls, we're going to go ahead and begin our lesson in our math book. Again, this is our final lesson, boys and girls, for the year. And this is on problem solving, reading a graph. Problem solving, reading a graph. So we're going to be taking a look here at the counters. You do not need any counters in order to do this lesson. So on the first page, the directions say that Erin, and that was the person in our video a moment ago, Erin made a graph of her counters. How many counters are in each category? Trace the numbers, trace the circle to show which category has more. So you're going to be using a crayon or your colored pencils. How many counters are in each category? So we see here that there are 3. 1, 2, 3. So down here, you can go ahead and trace the 3. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, with my, let's see, I think I'll use green. So go ahead and trace the 3. Whoops. Trace around the 3. And then how many yellow counters are there? We see that there are 4. And then, of course, the direction says to circle to show which category has more. We know that 4 is more than 3. We already have the circle around it, so we're just going to trace it to show that there are more yellow counters than red counters. So you can go ahead and repeat after me. There are more yellow counters than red counters. And there are fewer red counters than yellow counters. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to our next page. So go ahead and tear out your page, turn it over, and we're going to take a look and see what Billy's graph shows us today. So Billy made a graph showing his counters. Color the counters to show his categories. How many counters are in each category? Write the number. So that's a lot that we're going to do for the first one. So I want you to go ahead and get your yellow crayon, and we are going to fill in this first circle yellow since that's the first color on our graph. And then we need to write, let's see, with our pencil, let's go ahead and write how many yellow there are. So we're going to count, and we can cross and count if you want. Take your pencils and cross and count with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 yellow counters. So we're going to go ahead and write the number 5 right here. Now go ahead and put your pencil down and go and get your red crayon. It's a little bit easier. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and fill this in red. I finally figured out how to make my colors thicker. And then pick up your pencil, and we're going to cross and count first and write how many. Ready, begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now write 4 on the line. Perfect. So we have 5 yellow and 4 red. The second part of the instruction says to circle the category that has more counters on the graph. So we look up here, we see that the yellow goes farther out than the red. We see a space here, so we know that there are more yellow than red. And looking at our numbers, we know that 5 comes after 4. So 5 is larger. So the correct answer is going to be yellow, and we're going to go ahead and just circle the yellow right now, just like that. And again, repeat after me. There are more yellow counters than red counters. And there are fewer red counters than yellow counters. All right, go ahead now and look over. Turn to the next page. You can tear it out or leave it in your book. And we're going to be doing something very similar on this page. I am going to pause so that you can actually do this one more on your own. It says, Wrong made a graph of her counters. Color the counters to show her categories. So just like before, we're going to do that. So you can go ahead and take your red first, since red is up here. I'm going to go ahead and do that with you. Fill this in red. Perfect. And then go ahead and pick up your yellow and fill this one in yellow. And then you're going to put down your crayons and pick up your pencil. And now I want you to come over and you're going to do the red first. So I want you to cross and count the red and write the number, and then cross and count the yellow and write the number. So I'm going to pause shortly for you to do that. Go ahead and start. After you've done the red, go ahead and cross and count the yellow and write that number down. And now I'm going to go back and check. I count 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to write 3 here. If you counted 3 and wrote it down, you can pat yourselves on the back and say, good job, me. And for yellow, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We'll put 5 here. Again, pat yourselves on the back. Excellent. And then the final question says circle the category that has fewer counters on the graph. So which one has fewer? So be very careful. Look up here. Which one has fewer? Which has less? And then you can do a thumbs up. Do thumbs up if the answer is red, has fewer, or thumbs down if you think it's yellow. There are fewer red. We can see that by the empty spaces here, and the yellow goes beyond. So we're going to circle the red, just like that, friends. Okay? And now we're going to move on to our final page. And our final page is actually using cubes. So Brian has more blue cubes than red cubes. Draw and color to show his cubes on the graph. Count how many in each category. So what we're going to do is to color the cubes first. So you can go ahead and get your blue and red crayons. And go ahead and color this first cube blue. And you're going to need to do this one down here as well. So go ahead and color that one blue. Perfect. And then get your red one. And then we're going to go back to our blue. Okay, so it says that Brian has more blue than red. Draw and color the cubes. So he has more. So what we need to do is just show more blue. It doesn't give us a number. So let's go ahead and start drawing blue cubes inside. We're going to do 1, 2, keep going, because we want to show more blue. Perfect. We'll go ahead and stop there. Okay, and now get rid of your blue crayon and pick up your red crayon. And now we have to do fewer. So because we have already shown more blue, we could just do 1 red or 2 reds, as long as we don't do more reds than blue. How about we do 1 more? Because if we do any more, it would be the same. And we'll stop there. Go ahead and put your crayons down, pick up your pencil, and now we will write the numbers down below. So we have, and if you want, you can cross and count or not, 1, 2, 3, and 4 blue. Go ahead and write 4 next to the blue, and then 1, 2, 3 red. And it doesn't say to circle which is more or which is less, but we can tell by looking at our graph. So for the last time, repeat after me, or you can even say it with me. We'll start with the blue. I have more blue cubes than red cubes. I have fewer red cubes than blue cubes. And that, my friends, is our last one. Can't believe it. We are all finished with our final lesson in math. So tomorrow we will be doing our chapter review and then getting ready for your last and final math test that will be on Wednesday. So I hope you enjoyed graphing our counters and our cubes today, and of course wearing your hat for Monday. And you can wear your hat all day if you want. And if your parents can, have them take a picture of you doing this math lesson or your reading lesson today with your hats on and send them to me. I would love to see the hats that you are wearing today. Again, have a very, very happy Hat Monday, May 11th. Bye-bye. I'll see you later.